I think we're good.
I think we are too.
I guess Steve dropped off as
No, there we go. We are live.
okay, thank goodness. Welcome everybody to this edition of Elevated Intel. This is Cynthia Brewer, and Jody is still not with us, but that is perfectly fine. She is jet setting across the world right now with her husband. She's visiting Denmark. She's going to tell us about Denmark, which is great. And she'll be back for next week's episode. And today I have Julie Curtz. Julie,
Thank you.
I mean, you're obviously sitting in OG Jody James's office. You are all
I
up
know.
in her Jody James's chair. Like nothing is sacred at the Florida Cannabis office, is it? Are
No,
you
it's
putting
not.
your feet on her desk?
No, I would
It's
never
okay
do
if you did.
that.
I won't tell her.
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything like that. I was
Okay.
going to broadcast from the War Room office,
Yeah.
but I thought this was a little bit more intimate.
No, it's totally like reminiscent of like paying homage to Jody. It even says it as your name, but this is Julie Curtz. Julie Curtz is a valued and appreciated member of the FLCAN family. She has done so much. Your official title with FLCAN is what?
Community outreach coordinator.
Yeah, like HBIC, head bitch
Yeah,
in
like
charge,
bringing
right?
people together.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
conduit between the community and the cause, right?
that's right.
I love that.
I love it too.
And I know you are
Bringing the gaps
you're
in
the
together.
peanut butter in the sandwich.
I like that.
You know what? Like, I'm hungry. That's why we're gonna have a lot of food references today because I should have ate before we started today. But I'm very happy to have Julie because it's always nice to have someone who is so down to earth. She is probably the most just honest and kind. She'll give you the shirt off her back, even if it's probably not allowed by law. And I got to spend some time at the kayaking bioluminescence event
Oh, that was a
um,
blast.
with your wonderful husband who just adores you and hates no-see-ums. But we did
He
have
does
a
not
good
like it.
time.
Nope.
And he helped me decorate the outside with all those glow sticks, which was honestly the tops. And then you have my cooler. So
I
that's
do
it.
still have your cooler. It's sitting right here at the office. And those flowers that you guys made with the glow sticks were just they when we came back, I loved it. It looked great. It was
It was
glowing,
whimsical. It was
beautiful. Yes.
magical and whimsy. Okay, awesome. Well,
All the above.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad because I left before you got back. I was like, peace. And then I hit the dirt road because it was dark and it's wildlife sanctuary. I didn't want to hit like a boar or something.
It's a little
Um,
spooky out there.
it really is. It really is. When I see other headlights, I'm like, they're either gonna kill me or I'm gonna need their help with something. But we don't have a lot, Julie, in Florida going on right now. I know. I wish we had a more
Me
exciting week for
too.
your co-hosting event because this is a big day for me to have you here. But Florida, I'm going to hit on that later. We're going to talk a little national news first to update our listeners that have been staying up to speed and probably waiting with bated breath and on the edge of their seat for this rescheduling announcement. That is, it was
Yes.
August when Trump said, we will be deciding in the next few weeks. So cryptic, but very specific. And it's been a few weeks. Like he thinks that because we're stoners that we don't tell time or have a good idea, but we know it's
We
been over a
do.
few weeks. That like drugs are the only reason we know the metric system. So like don't put it beyond us that we won't learn. Like you better keep your word,
That's
right?
right.
So as far as that goes, there's still no news from President Trump on rescheduling, but we see the industry and industry supplemental companies preparing for what we optimists believe is going to be inevitable, right? It's going to happen
Do they
because
know something we don't?
no, I don't think anyone knows something we don't unless it's Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson was quoted this week in saying that he may not have spoken directly to President Trump, but he is in conversations with high members of the cabinet, and they are very fond of rescheduling. There's so many things wrong with that. I love Mike Tyson, but I don't think he has a direct line to the Oval Office. Exactly.
It sounds
Per
like he
se.
knows members in the Oval Office getting high, is what it
Well, he's
sounds
making
like.
it sound like he just picks up the phone and he calls up the White House and he's like, what's going on with marijuana? But Mike Tyson, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Mike Tyson. So
Yeah,
he pretty much, yeah, the champ,
let's see him
Oh,
do it.
right hook, left hook, right uppercut. I mean, come on. He could get away with murder. Um, let's see. So there have been some stock upticks that we've noticed, right?
Oh,
So different cannabis stocks, they're very volatile, so they're always all over the place. So it's really hard to tell what a trend in the favorable is going to look like. But I'm gonna mention it. We've got lawmakers nationwide starting to gather thoughts on implementing supporting language for a rescheduling announcement. So maybe because rescheduling doesn't cover decriminalization, expungement, specifics on taxes and banking, and protections for users. There are some lawmakers that are starting to get their language and their sponsors together to go ahead and introduce it because they believe, as an optimist, I hope, that it will be inevitable. In addition to that, and I'm saying this all as a speculation that these are positive things, even though no news is good news. Um, right now, no news seems to be really good news. Recently, Trump picked his, and I hate this word, but I'm going to say it because that's what they're going to call her, a drug czar.
mhm.
Okay. I don't know when that started to be a thing, but essentially it's the person that heads up the National Drug Control Policy Division. Okay. So they are usually traditionally the opposing force to legalization, right?
Yes.
They're the ones we don't like. They're the ones pushing their agenda and we're fighting our agenda. But this woman, I almost said young lady, her name is Sarah Carter. She was like a career journalist. She appeared in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and I'm so surprised I nailed that word,
Go.
for her confirmation hearing earlier this week before she officially takes on the role. And she has voiced, are you ready for this?
I am.
Strong support of medical marijuana and an openness to discuss national rescheduling.
That's
Is that too
exciting.
cryptic to be excited about?
They made me a little excited.
Okay, thank
It
goodness. Okay.
did.
I
It made me, but it doesn't take much.
okay, that's a good point. I'm glad you stated that. So I think one, it's wonderful that he put a woman in this position because
Yes.
we don't ever get to be drug czars.
No.
I mean, I've hashtag goals, right? So, and two, uh, she's even before taking on the roles and responsibilities of this position that normally does not like anything cannabis related, she's already stated publicly that she is down for medical marijuana. Doesn't mean it like, legalization, but she likes medical marijuana and
Sure.
she's open to discussions on rescheduling.
I like open. Openness is a great word.
Yeah, that was the exact word, actually. Openness of national rescheduling conversation. So, although the position looks like it might be in reform a little bit and maybe more canna open, not canna friendly, I think it's a good sign. In addition to that, we had kind of a Florida, kind of a national, well, definitely a national and a Florida thing, Curaleaf.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Are you
Yes.
familiar? Okay.
Yes. I'm a little
Curaleaf is
familiar with what happened. Yes. Or what's
Yeah,
going on.
Curaleaf is a MSO that's operating here in the great state of Florida, a multi-state operator with a presence throughout the country. So and this is kind of outside of my wheelhouse, to be honest with you. I know stock in crypto sense because I lost a lot of money on crypto, but like, so I know it obviously. But Curaleaf Holdings became the first U.S.-based cannabis operator to join the S&P TSX, which is the Toronto Stock Exchange Composite Index, and this will start on the September 22nd. As an industry, this is a historical milestone for us because it kind of leaves the door open, or at least the pathway for other companies to join, like the Toronto Stock Exchange, because not you can't do it in the States, for exposure to more capital, more money. It gives people, it almost legitimizes the industry a little more, just a tad more, if you're willing, if you're able to make it onto the stock exchange like that, to where people can invest in you with the confidence that you would get.
Hmm.
I don't know how many people will come next. I know that there are some Canadian-based cannabis companies like I think, well, actually, Tilray, Kronos, and Canopy, they're on Robinhood. So I'm pretty sure that they're on the United Stock Exchange. But um, yeah, there's probably a lot of people that are going to correct me, and that's perfectly fine. But
Right.
this is a big deal because this is the first US based cannabis company to go onto a stock exchange, like the TSX.
So should we all go out and buy a Curaleaf stock?
No, so we do not give stock advice on this show because it would be really bad. I'd be like, invest in bananas, because I feel like it. So 100%, none of this is actually good, like financial advice in the slightest.
Do your homework. Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Do your homework when you're
Cannabis is volatile. It's always up and down, because the whole industry is in constant state of flux all the time. So do your homework and talk to a financial advisor or Google it, right?
Yeah.
Florida Can says
that's why I don't play in
Google it.
stocks.
Google it and stop being lazy. Okay. So that's some kind of Florida, kind of national news. I do have a specific Florida story before we talk about like rescheduling and some DOJ stuff. And I know you've got a very interesting story coming up.
I do.
So I do want to tell you about something that happened in Florida. It's not great. It's not great, but Florida man.
Florida man.
Have you ever heard a Florida man story that
Florida man.
Have you ever heard a Florida man story that didn't make you kind of cringe a little bit?
No. Or
Florida man gets busted in a crosswalk for eating waffles. Florida man tries to pay for his McDonald's with a turtle or something like that. Seriously, I want you to go on your phone. I want you to Google Florida man story, and I want you to read for me the first one that comes up while I talk about this nightmare of Florida man. So I, of course, when doing research for the show, Jody and myself and the group, we will all get together and kind of compare notes on the news. We don't want to give you anything that's outdated. We want to make sure it's relevant and within the past week because we do this weekly. So I put in Florida marijuana news. I'll put in Florida cannabis news. I'll put in marijuana news and see what comes up. And this week we had a wonderful Florida man busted with sea turtle eggs and marijuana in his van down by the river.
What was he doing?
Never mind. Okay. For those who know, down by the river. But if you don't know, it wasn't actually down by the river. It was in the driveway of a woman he assaulted and had a no contact order with.
What?
Florida man. Okay, so 53-year-old Wesley Winters not only violated a no contact order with an elderly woman he had assaulted, okay, but he parked his kidnap van or his R-word van in front of this past victim's house, and law enforcement asked him to search the vehicle, and he's like, yeah, I don't think there's any drugs in there, which is a weird thing to say to a cop right off the bat, right? Like, you probably don't want to start with that. So of course law enforcement's like, we'll be the judge of that, and they decide to search his vehicle. They found weed, meth, fentanyl, one alprazolam, and a bunch of sea turtle eggs. Okay, so I don't think there's any drugs back there. Understatement of the century, right?
Right.
The fact that this is the first thing that came up for cannabis news in Florida, depressing to say the least. But the punishment, okay, you're parked in front of someone that you physically assaulted, an elderly woman in the state of Florida. That is a very big no-no. You do not
felony, isn't it?
I mean, let's assume everything is felonious in this activity. Okay, so you violated no contact. You park in. That's an aggressive stance to park in your driveway, and then you swear there's no drugs in the car. There's some drugs in the car, and there's some sea turtle eggs, which is like slapping Florida in the face. Because if we love our old people, we don't like fentanyl and drugs, and we love the sea turtles. So I expect him to go to jail for life, because you just like, that's like a triple whammy. Okay. That's 3 slaps in the face. So he is facing 5 felonies and 5 misdemeanors for the turtle eggs. That's what it said.
That's
it. For the eggs. So as far as Florida rating its intensity of punishment. Stealing turtle eggs, violating elderly, no contact after assaulting her, and then having a variety of drugs, including fentanyl. They go for the turtle eggs because you have to protect the turtles.
Do you
I
think
guess
that might have been the I don't know. Do you think that they took the highest thing that they could get them for, and that was the sea turtle
that's a
eggs,
good
maybe?
point. Actually, I don't know what the punishment is for violating a no contact when you assaulted someone, but I would assume it would be jail. Like you just go back to jail, right? But I don't know. And then having a little bit of weed, a dash of meth, a sprinkle of fentanyl, and one alprazolam. Maybe it wasn't enough to get him for like felonious, but I feel like
Yeah,
the mixture together, like that should count as at least a felony. But the turtle eggs,
the turtle eggs.
and that's such a dick move to go and dig up the eggs. They
Yeah.
didn't do anything to you. Like they're protected. People turn off their lights on the beach to make sure that they know that it's not the moon and the turtles will go to sea. Like
It's the
we
thing, because they
care.
don't want the turtles going to the light because they
Yeah,
do.
that's why
They'll go
you
towards the
turn
light.
off your lights. Yeah. I used to live on beachside in Cape Canaveral and it was right on the water. It was ridiculous. My family was my landlord, so that's the only reason I could live there. But yeah, like we were very cognizant of turning off the lights. And then if you see anybody messing with the nests, you get to like go and punch them in the throat. I just assume that that's what the protocol would have been
The
if
thing,
I saw.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing. I mean, because you want to protect the turtles and you want them to go out, but that guy dug them up, so I think he got like what he deserved. I hope they convict him for all of this harshness. But
I hope
that
so too.
unfortunately, what Florida man story did you find at the top of your Google?
Okay, so mine was a naked man humping something. Where did it go?
Ooh, maybe we skip to the second one for viewer discretion.
Okay, let me see. Where did it go?
It is one of my favorite memes. Florida man tries to trade prosthetic leg for cannabis, all of that.
Oh my gosh, I lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Florida man, where did it go? Let me see.
Julie on the fly on live television.
I feel so under pressure.
It's okay. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about some other really serious things that are probably going to make you feel a certain way as well.
This one was like
So,
naked Florida man humps tree, punches deputy, and clings to a semi truck.
there you go. Never fails to, like, if you're bored, just Google Florida man and sort by date. The first one that comes up, because there's so many Florida man stories, it's actually getting like embarrassing. Like, it's a
Yeah.
little much.
The Florida
What do
women's
you,
stories are pretty bad too.
yeah, Florida. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Smuggling stuff out of grocery stores. So I want
Oh,
to
yeah.
go through expectations for rescheduling implementation timeline, but it might be a little monotonous for some. I heard you have a good story, and because we are on the Space Coast, I feel like it's incredibly relevant to some of our listeners.
Well, we were just talking a little bit about the three-eye atlas
Which
slash
I had no idea.
comet. They say it's a comet.
There's a comet
Um,
heading towards Earth right now. Everybody panic.
well, they say it's not coming until like 2027, but there's all kinds of
You get your news really, really early.
there's all kinds of because it's changing every day on this thing, honestly.
It
Like
really
a
is. After I
Harvard
looked it up, it is. Yeah.
a Harvard doctor actually discovered it. So they say it was a comet. Like when I first heard, they said it didn't have a tail, but now they see a tail. And apparently it now that they can detect some things that are in it, there's nickel without iron and a
Oh, snap.
cyanide or something. Yeah, I was reading this and that's what it said. So it's I don't know. I find it very interesting, seeing as that
It
we are on the
is.
Space Coast. Is it alien? We don't know. I mean, it's obviously
Is it an alien? We don't know.
some people
We're gonna
say,
find out. Stay tuned. But okay, so my first thought is like one of my biggest fears, which is giant waves, obviously instigated not by earthquake, but by comets, like deep impact, Armageddon, all of
Sure.
those movies when I was growing up, like those put fear into me. Giant waves, we live next to the water, scariest thing in the world.
Yes.
So when people talk about comets that get really close to the earth, it freaks me out big time because I'm just assuming they're going to forget to like check the skies one day and there's going to be one hurtling right toward us. But this one looks like it's heading away from us towards Mars.
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming into the solar system, but not towards Earth.
We should be able to see it, right?
I apparently you can see it with big telescopes now. We've been getting pictures from the James Webb telescope. That's how I think we're getting some of our information. Also, we have had in the past we have had two similar type comets in 2017 and 2019. So it's not something that we haven't seen before. It's just they do say that this one's doing some different things.
Yes, it's acting. I almost said erratically. It's
Oh,
acting erratically, not erotically. This sexy comment.
what a sexy
No,
comet. It's got a tail now and everything.
I as soon as I looked it up, there's like story. 4 hours later, story. 1 hour later, story. Like there are movements that it's making that are not traditional, and so it's causing a lot more of attention. So I don't know if it's like extinction level event. I don't think it's that intense. But if we can't gauge the activity of a random comet coming near us, we need to be like super aggressive. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just
And
don't trust
enjoy
them.
every day like it's your, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen. So,
Hug your loved ones, say you're sorry, smoke a bowl, and just prepare for the worst, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or
We're
maybe
super.
it's aliens coming to say, hey,
There
what's
we are.
going on
There's the
here?
aliens talk. Well, it's I don't think I don't think that there's aliens on there. I do think that the space stuff flies towards us and it makes me highly uncomfortable. And you should love your loved ones, give them hugs, and remember to tell them you love them because something could happen at any time. However, it can't all be fire and brimstone. Like it could be a comet of knowledge and we learned something from it. But so I wanted to talk and get your opinion on Pam Bondi. What do you
Oh,
think of Pam Bondi?
Bonnie. I don't know enough about her.
I don't think about her ever either. So that's awesome. We are samesies.
All
I don't think
right.
about Pam Bondi when I'm sleeping. I don't think when I wake up. I don't think about her ever.
Okay.
But now we kind of have to.
Yes, we do, don't we?
Uh so she's been a thorn in our side or a pain in our whatever. You pick your own analogy. But last week we had Dr. Barry Gordon on, who was a gem. And I know you watched that episode
I
because
did.
you were the producer and you
I was in
were
the
beep bop
production
boop bop
line.
and doing all the technical stuff. Dr. Barry Gordon is like amazing. He's such a wealth of
Love him.
knowledge. The passion within that man is exceeds anyone else combined that I know. You could tell him to talk about grilled cheese sandwiches with conviction and he will spill his heart and soul if he feels passionate about grilled cheese. Now,
Yes.
he brought up a lot of great stuff last week. We talked slightly about, we touched on the leaf well thing, and I understand his point of view because he's in the industry as a recommending physician. It's really hard to say 100% exactly what you feel because it's a sensitive subject. He was
It
on a
is.
podcast the following Sunday with Nick Garrelay and Gary Stein and Dr. Barry Gordon and another woman. I don't remember her name, but she was awesome too. And they were kind of talking about it, and he gave us a wonderful shout out. But I did hear from Nick Garrelay on his perspective on his injunctive relief complaint against Leafwell that he is very aggressively going to pursue this.
Good.
He is not letting up. He is invested, not just financially, but personally. He feels, and I rightfully so, that they have destroyed a big part or a big chunk of his business, almost irretrievable amounts of business that he could have had or did have, and that he's taking this very personal. And
Yeah.
I think that there's not a lot of people in this industry that can take something personal because they're big companies, right? Like big MSOs that are operating in the Florida market. Um, Doctors are the only ones that are really the person that gets licensed and the front forward facing patient representative, right?
Yeah.
So Dr. Barry Gordon has his practice. Nick Garrelay, he has his. There's other doctors that are part of our network that have their own, and this affects their business. So Nick was very passionate on that podcast about like he's not going to let up. He's got a team of attorneys ready to go. The enthusiasm, excitement, and a little bit of anger charge behind him made me see that this is not just off the cuff. It's something that he's been brewing over,
Yeah.
something that has been festering and bothering him for some time where we had no idea, you know, some of the nuances. What are your thoughts on the doctors in I'm not going to ask anything scandalous because we do have members and we have clients and stuff in space, but I want to know what your thoughts are on the program doctors in Florida not exceeding like a range of numbers. It's always been about the same number of doctors for the state. We don't have an influx of doctors. Do you
No.
ever feel like the doctors that are available in Brevard County and surrounding counties are not sufficient?
So I've had experience with a good doctor and I've had experience with the doctor, and I'm actually a patient of Migraine, Florida.
My Florida
Um,
Green, yes,
my
Nick
Florida
Garrett's
Green,
company.
which I moved to them probably about 3 or 4 years ago. My first doctor, who I'm not going to mention who it was
Yeah.
one of those doctors. You got a headache? Okay, yeah, but I did have migraine, so I actually did, have a reason for getting my card. Um, when I decided to go to my new doctor, he was right around the corner from me. That's the only reason I switched doctors. And they made me watch videos before I went in to see them. Videos on edibles and dosing, and I had to answer little
Were
questions.
they important,
They were
relevant?
they were hugely important. And as an
Okay.
advocate and as somebody who's heard about good and bad doctors, I was really impressed with what they have you do to go in and the education that they're giving you before they even pull you into the clinic.
And that's unique to each practice. Like Dr. Barry
Correct.
Gordon said that after he does his initial consultation in person with a patient, he does a free follow up shortly after to just temperature check.
Sure.
How is everything? Did
Yeah.
you find any products? Because the first couple of months of being a patient, you can go through a bunch of products and find out you don't like them and you're never going to take them. You can't give them away. You have to toss them and
Yes.
exhaust your registry. That's what I did. I was like, I didn't like this. I didn't like that. Didn't like this. And so you're trying to figure it out. So the free update check and it's all unique to the practice. My
Yes.
doctor, I know that we went in person. I was there in person. I did take a pregnancy test. I was like, sure, why not? Like, that's fine. I'll just whatever. It was negative, that's great. And then asking me like pretty like doctorish questions, but I was there for over an hour,
Yeah.
because it wasn't going to be like a sign it off and I had to supply my records. He asked me questions. He
Sure.
like had me talk about my past, any type of past use to kind of get a very safe space open. So I guess each practice being unique and offering what they think is valuable, your videos, did they provide something or anything that you didn't know
Well, no,
because you're in this space?
because I'm in the space, but
Okay.
like
What
one of
if
the
you weren't?
important, if I wasn't, yes, I would not
Okay.
know that I could eat an edible and I should wait 2 hours because it might affect me in 1 hour or 2 hours. The dosing, what hits you more fast, the smoking method, the tinctures, taking the tinctures, stuff that people should be educated on. And I thought that
Right.
was very important. Flip side of all of this.
Mm.
So I'm at an event, I guess it was probably last year, and I'm not going to mention the company that was there, but
Okay.
I was walking by and they said, "Hey, come get a card." I'm like, "I have a card." They're like, "Oh, you can pay cheap here." And I'm like, "I don't I like I like my doctor."
Ooh.
They were very, very pushy.
Uh-huh. What they
And
promise you?
they I honestly, I don't know. I can't remember what they promised me. So, but here's another story. I was at a friend's house actually yesterday, and he he is scared of losing his guns because of cannabis. um just the old school mentality, and he doesn't have a license, but he's like, I was at an event and this guy was chasing me down, and he told me that everything's okay now, and I it's okay for me to
Well,
write this on the line and that on the line, like they were gonna
no.
put
Oh,
him
he was
in.
advising him on how to fill out. Oh gosh, no.
Yes, and I'm
I
not
thought you meant
admitting
like he
that
was
was
aware of
either.
the FL Can work that was recently completed, where we have, it's not, the ink
No,
isn't dry, it's not
no,
official. Nobody
nope.
get out there and grab your guns, but it is a big, huge step. So he wasn't
Yes,
talking about the positive things in the news. He was talking, the guy was telling him how to fill
how to
out the
fudge it,
form
how
and
to
budget. Wow.
Yeah, I was
That's upsetting.
floored because he asked me, he's like, "Is that true?" And I explained to him about,
Yeah. You have to
the
talk them
gun
through the
lawsuit.
process.
Yeah, and he's like, he's like, he lied to me. I'm like, "Yeah, I
That's
don't,
really bad. That's
but
bad
it's
because
it's not right. It's not right that
because
these
who gets
people are
in
doing that."
trouble if they're advising people wrong, saying, yes, you can have your concealed weapons. Yes, you can carry a gun. Yes, you can be a patient and have marijuana on you. And then you go to jail. They're not going to be like, hey, I was told by my doctor. They're going to be like, well, you didn't Google it. So back to the Google it full circle.
Yeah.
I do remember hearing, actually, this was a first, like someone had told me their story. They were a patient in the program for a long time. They had the same doctor. They were happy with their doctor, but they had a newspaper article or something in like a small publication locally say, if you switch your doctor to us, you only have to pay 99 bucks for your renewal. So he was almost up for renewal, and he decided he was going to go in there. And so from the time he parked his car in the parking lot to getting inside and back out to his vehicle, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. He
That's
was
not
able
even
to
enough time to get to.
No, he was able to park his car, probably walk medium to moderately slow, sit in the waiting room for most of that. Um, I don't think he saw a doctor. He paid his fee. He got a new doctor assigned, and then his rec re-upped, but then he was back in his car in 4 minutes. So that was something where, like, he was like, it was almost really great to have like the discount, but I kind of want to go back to my old doctor because it didn't seem like they gave a crap about me, my wellness plan, medicine, contraindication, anything. It's like if you're already approved by a doctor, a good legitimate one, then yeah, we'll take you for 99 bucks because we don't have to do a lot of paperwork if you already had someone else do it.
Yeah.
But it's upsetting. There's a lot of really scary stories out there, people. But we're gonna stay up to date with everything that's going on with the My Florida Green and the Leafwell uh, litigation. He is seeking injunctive relief, which means them stopping all operations and then also damages for
Wow.
which, I mean, to be honest, the only way to fix the problem in his eyes would be to stop the problem from continuing, and then also to, recoup some of the lost revenue that he would have made. Um, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult lawsuit, I think, because it's difficult to prove all of this stuff from one company. But I think if anyone's got their ducks in a row after listening to that podcast on Sunday, it's Nick Garrelay, because he is not going to give up, and he will go thrashing and screaming into the night before he lets them off the hook. So we're going to have popcorn and just watch it and report, because unbiased third party, it is important
Yes.
to the industry. um Now, besides that, we did talk last week. He talked about a lot of things. Uh, it's kind of a blur, but he's a mile a minute. And I love his lovely wife, Patty, walking
Patty,
around
pretty
in the
Patty.
background. Uh-huh. Doing
That's
her
great.
her things around the house, just kind of pacing around the house, doing her chores or whatever she was doing. And then, like, as if this is just business as usual for her. She's just such a lovely lady. He's
She
a
is.
wonderful Manny, good friend, was really happy to host him. We did not get to cover all of the topics last week that I want to make sure our listeners are aware of this week because they're still super relevant and important. And we circle back to Pam Bondi, that
Ham
blonde
Bondi.
little vixen coming from two blondes. She's not part of our club. So Pam Bondi stood up for a wonderful press conference with RFK Jr. One
Love
of
that man.
the well, kind of have to like the
You have
whole
to.
Kennedy family is like cursed. I mean, seriously, look into it. It goes through the freaking family tree and it's like dies in an accident, dies into this. And I'm like, man,
It's
I
bad.
can't get a
Yeah.
break. But
He,
he is still kicking, going, doing great in, Washington, fighting the good fight. But they were talking about how the DOJ had recently seized over 600,000 illegal vaping products across 6 states. This is a big deal when it comes to the rescheduling conversation. And I know this is going to be hard to kind of grab these two lines and connect them, but we're going to try.
okay.
So, rescheduling timeline, two very significant things had happened last week and following into this week. So, RFK Jr. and Pam Bondi talking about enforcing this activity, seizing these products, making sure that the illicit market is being monitored and regulated. In my humble opinion, and some other industry professionals, that's a good sign for rescheduling because it's a baseline, it's a foundation that you want to lay that you can regulate the illicit and the legal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Pam, which reminds,
Ham.
have you ever seen Step Brothers? When
Yes.
he's going in and she's like, "My name's Pam," and he's like, "Pammed," like with the D.
Hammed.
That's what I think of every time I think of Pam Bondi. But anyways, so by Pam Bondi and RK Jr. standing up there and talking about how they are very successful at seizing illicit products and getting them off of the market, products that may have been attractive to children,
Yep.
may have been targeting children, are no longer available for sale. That does show positive movement for the rescheduling conversation because they are monitoring, regulating, and enforcing action on the illicit market while rescheduling would kind of protect the legal market. The next thing that happened was the DOJ, Department of Justice. So Trump decided to tell all of the agencies in his deregulation stance that if you're going to implement one new rule, you have to eliminate 10, which I'm like, that doesn't seem reasonable, but apparently it is reasonable. So if an agency like the Department of Justice is using appropriation money for something that might be trivial or maybe disposable, and they want something that they're more passionate about, they have to eliminate 10 like rules or regulatory actions before they can implement one. So the DOJ withdrew over 50 rules and regulatory actions last week, and I think some of this week, but not, and some of them had to do with hemp and cannabis, but
Oh.
they did not withdraw the reclassification or the rescheduling conversation on cannabis. They could have,
But they
but they
didn't.
didn't. Right. They did do other hemp things. They actually, we did talk last week about how they eliminated, the enforcement side of the hemp labs, which affects my company
Right.
directly because of the DEA certification requirement, which is impossible. Long story short, if they do away with that, then we can actively participate in legitimizing products nationwide, where right now we can't. It's very difficult to get approved, even though all we do is cannabis and hemp testing. But so they got rid of that. They got rid of some telemedicine pharmacies. They got rid of some drug disposal programs and stuff. So that last week it was like 10 or 12. I think we talked about a dozen. This week it's over 50 that they eliminated, but none of them
But
were
none
rescheduling
of
conversation. Thoughts?
I think that's positive.
I'd like to think every sign I bring up is going to be positive and that I can just read the tea leaves, but it isn't. I mean, like I said, all of this is speculation.
Yeah.
Um, the rescheduling answer is going to have to come from Trump's mouth. I mean, it's going to have to be an announcement, a press conference where he's like, okay, y'all, it's going down. We're going
Yeah.
to reschedule cannabis. It's not going to be through different channels. He wants all of the credit.
I feel like I don't I feel like it's coming. I feel like things are moving and pieces of the puzzle behind the scenes are
It's
kind
been a
of
couple of weeks. He said a couple of weeks. We gave him a couple of weeks, and now it's getting close to like the month mile marker. Like it's not a couple of weeks anymore, like
no, I feel like something's gonna happen. I do. I'm
I think
hoping.
they're going to do it. So what does everyone need to expect for a rescheduling implementation? So what everyone should know is there is a safety in this activity that we don't normally get, especially here in Florida. In Florida, if you don't get something that you want, you can litigate and get it. You can sue and get it. We had some licensure awarded to cannabis growers. 5 of them got licenses. The rest sued and they got licenses. So it's like if litigation licensure is a thing in Florida. What also happens is implementation of language, good, bad, or ugly, rules for regulating our industry. They can be held up, which is happening right now with some regulations by challenges from anyone in the industry, anyone at all. So they can't implement something because they have so many challenges to the rule that it's like in a weird limbo until all of that has been resolved. This
Right.
doesn't have that. We don't have to worry about um, people that are challenging it holding up the progress of it. So, which I think is very comforting. So, if he announces rescheduling, it could be a matter of weeks before that actually is officially implemented, but it won't be months or years because uh, they have to do certain due diligence when they're going to talk about rescheduling. Okay. They're going to take it from a 1, heroin, right? Like
LSD.
putting marijuana in the same category as heroin is like putting a Nerf gun in the same category as an AR-15, in my
Agreed.
right? So like
Agreed.
we need out this category. This one's a little extreme for our neck of the woods. We don't look like we're fentanyl dealers or marijuana. We might look like marijuana users, but like I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Um, but heroin, there's no medicinal benefit for heroin, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not looking to research it either, but like I just trust that they've already done that type of due diligence. So if you're going to move it from something that has no medical benefit, high likelihood of abuse, right?
Yes.
Heroin, people, they get stuck to it, right? Uh, and no medical benefit, high likelihood of abuse. And we're going to move it down to a 3. You're going to say it has medical benefit. You can't just claim that all willy nilly and be like, we're going to move it from 1 to a 3 because it's fine. You have to actually do the scientific research, which has already been conducted and already been completed, which would be one of the hurdles to the implementation timeline, right? But they don't have to do that. So it's already been done. The scientific research that proves that rescheduling it would make sense because there is medical benefit, medium to mild like risk of abuse or dependency. All of that stuff has been done. So it's
Yes.
almost like different administrations did their shit and they all came together. And so this can happen very efficiently and effectively. And Trump gets to take all the credit. He's going to be like, I freed the plant, I'm like the coolest guy that's ever been. I'm like the most coolest guy ever. Like now weed people like me. I'll be honest, like weed people will like him more.
Yeah.
If they didn't like him at all, they might like him a little more if he does this, right?
I would think so.
Will
I
you
mean,
like him more?
I would like anybody who does anything to get that plant closer to being free.
Do you
So,
think the plant will ever be free?
100%.
Yeah,
Gosh, I wish.
I know.
I'm banking on it. I'm working my little booty off as hard as I can.
I believe it. No, you hit the pavement, you pound the pavement, and you put the time and you put the work in. But sometimes it feels like for every, inch you go forward, there's like 10 steps back
Yeah.
because somebody wants to go and exploit the market, they want to abuse the privilege, or they want to take advantage of a program, which we'll get into with China.
Oh, China.
But now that China's involved, maybe Trump will implement it faster because he doesn't like China as
He does
much,
not
right?
like China. No,
Not a
he does
big, not
not.
a fan. So hopefully we will get some information, but um the expectation of implementation should be fairly quick, comparatively speaking, to most things that happen in government. It's I'm confident that they've already taken the steps to get it implemented quickly. So as far as like what that means for us, wait and see, because it doesn't mean much. Day-to-day operators in the space, day-to-day patients in the space, it is still going to be scheduled. If you have a business, you're going to look at the tax benefits, 280E. You're going to look at being able to finally take some deductions when you do it, but not everyone owns a business.
No.
It does not cover expungement of records, which we talked about with some of the
Yeah.
congressional members taking up that cause. People are going to take up the missing pieces, but it's still going to be regulated, and
Yeah.
it's
I think
still going to be monitored. We will have to see what changes happen in like regular life, regular people life.
I feel like it with the deschedule, some of my older
Reschedule.
relatives are reschedule. I'm sorry, with the reschedule, like some of the older generation might start looking at it different because some of the older generation does look at it like it's heroin because it's classified with heroin.
I
So
think there's two
the
different
reaper
types of
madness.
cool, like old people, like two different types of older generation, whatever you want to say that's appropriate. There's like the cool old people that were like, in my day, a dime bag cost a dime, and like you're like, I could get high with him in the back of his van. Like, yeah, totally cool.
Right.
And I bet he's got great stories about smoking weed with Willie Nelson and like following, like a band around, and like, yeah, he didn't have any worries and everything was free love. But then there's like just the really Debbie Downer of the same generation that's like, weed is the reason that everybody is like,
It's
I feel
still
like they
out
blame
there.
minorities, they blame marijuana. My son lost all of his life because he was a weed smoker. Weed's not really a gateway drug. Like, it's perfect just by itself. You don't have to go any further. Like, I mean, it's kind of like nonsense to say that. But there are some older people that could be really cool if they just stop spitting nonsense about cannabis and lies, like about minorities, about disenfranchised groups of people being responsible. The war on drugs, well, drugs won. Drugs
The
won the war on drugs.
deaths, the
Let's be honest.
deaths that cannabis
Exactly.
causes. Oh my
And
God.
just saying like the industry, it's almost like an FU to them because the industry has come so far and it's been very successful. But you have to think about when cannabis was legal, alcohol was illegal. So when prohibition for alcohol was happening, cannabis was legal. Those people are cool. That's fine. Do away with alcohol. I don't drink. That's fine. Unaffected. But they were fine with cannabis. And
Mhm.
those were like the women that were like, if you put whiskey on your lips, you're not going to kiss mine. And they were like, people did not like them during. No, they really did not. There's like a group, the one woman in particular, like her name escapes me, but these ladies would just go around and talk crap about like, my husband does not drink whiskey, and it's the root of all evil. And maybe it is. But at that time, cannabis was legal.
Yeah.
And then when prohibition ended, you know, cannabis was illegal. It's like they have to have something to be angry at to say that's the instigator for the activities I don't like. They're the right.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
going to be the new instigator is what I was getting at. What are they going to spend their time worrying about and investing in drug-free America? What are they going to do?
comments. They can worry about the comments.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Steve, our wonderful producer, said Hector's asking the word about California banning hemp.
I just saw
I
that.
heard some Texas talk, but I didn't hear California talk. If you want to Google it, Julie, so that we can cover these high. I
Texas
mean, to
banning
be
hemp.
honest, I was diligently looking for news all day, and I like to listen to other podcasts and listen to other professionals talk about different things, and then I just pick my favorite. But um, California's got a difficult market. So
Tricky
although
there.
people were first, does not mean that their program is the best. It means they were first. Um, they laid groundwork. They helped with the implementation and paving the way so that we could learn from some of their mistakes. But just because California, Colorado, some of these markets on the West Coast were first to do does not mean that they have been the best to do. Operating in the California market was a nightmare. And so we decided to leave. It's difficult out there for people to understand because they think it's all established cannabis businesses doing established business reputably and compliantly, but that's not the case. You've got a lot of people that try to participate in legal markets with illicit products or do illicit things with legal products. They can even be licensed. There's some Oklahoma talk about some Chinese. I'm not going to get into it until I've done a fact check, which is necessary for this. Pretty much a mixed bag of like headlines from the National Enquirer. It seems like Chinese illegals entered the state with cartels from Mexico. They've been executing people. They had dead bodies. They've got licenses for cannabis grows, and they are selling weed. I don't know. It just seemed like somebody got the Mad Libs of like cannabis nonsense together. And so I have to look into it. So I'm not going to talk about any further on Oklahoma, but there's some shit going down in
I might have to
Oklahoma.
reach out to some of my connections in
I
Oklahoma.
read that the
Find out
law
some.
enforcement was having a really hard time because of the language barrier with the Chinese illegal immigrants. And I'm like, does nobody speak Mandarin or Cantonese, which fact check me if those are not the languages in China. It's not Chinese. It's just you can find a translator to translate for you. You can't say your biggest problem with this is the language barrier. But I digress. Like I said, I'm going to look into it. What did you find about California?
You mean Texas?
I know Texas. Hector said California.
Well, you know what? Seeing as I've been looking at, oh, that's
It's okay. It's all right. So if there's news that happened, thanks for calling us and put us on the spot, Hector, calling us out for not being diligent enough when we spent a long time looking into these stories. But if there's information and news about California and the hemp space, we will definitely report on it in the next episode, especially if it's relevant. We did see in Texas that the attempt to outlaw and to ban all products related to like even hemp derived THC products. Uh, it's weird in Texas because their medical marijuana program seems to be super supported by their legislature. But the hemp argument for whether or not they should allow hemp products seems to be so convoluted. They're making strides in a good direction, just like Congress is too. They're not going to outright ban all products because you would eliminate an industry that is trying to do right. Just like we have good players, Treadwell Nursery, CR World.
yeah.
We've got Chillum and other hemp retail establishments that are trying to help the industry move forward. And then you've got some not so great players that are out there, really capitalizing on this opportunistic retail market. A loophole that has not been closed. They're still having issues at the federal level in closing it appropriately. I don't think that they understand how they opened it to close it appropriately. Rand Paul did an interview and he was like, yeah, we just got to fix the mistakes that other people made. And he's like, do you know what the mistakes are? And he's like, things,
Things.
things. So I don't think that they understand that there's two sides to this nightmare. There's allowing THCA flower, which essentially is cannabis, to be sold in a retail environment without any regulation, oversight, requirements. It's weed, it's flower. And the manipulation of cannabinoids or the modifying of cannabinoids into a synthetic, type activity, or I guess you wouldn't say synthetic if it's delta 8, but it is manipulating the cannabinoid into something that is psychoactive. So there's two sides to it. Delta 8 and synthetics and stuff that was created from the kitchen chemistry of the world, and then the loophole of selling weed because they didn't think about the formula or ask the industry those tough questions. So they understand the synthetic part, bad. Coming from China, bad. They do understand China is bad. I mean, 600,000 products.
Yeah.
Not going to keep happening. They kind of understand how Delta 8 is manufactured and why it would be bad, but I don't think that they're grasping the flower side, the THCA flower.
It's after sitting through the hemp committees last year and
Right.
watching the legislators ask questions, and there was a lot of questions being asked that they just didn't know the difference between the THCA, the hemp, there's so many, you know, tentacles of it, but it's
Right.
also simple. I feel like we've made it so difficult to understand when it's also simple.
It's simple for us because we're in the space. We know what decarboxylation is. We know that you don't smoke weed without igniting it. You have to light something on fire. But I think even after being in the industry, I remember providing testimony in 2018. I remember exactly what I wore. Okay. It was a convention center by a fairground in Tampa, I think. I don't know. I had to get like a hotel, and Holly Bell was there, and Matt Curran, Dr. Curran from FDAX, and Matt Colson. So the whole FDAX food safety people were up there, and they were asking for people to contribute testimony on the new hemp regulations at the time, which had the formula, or like which said full panel testing is required in the state of Florida for all hemp extract products. So anything made from the flower, extracted from the flower, was going to have to be, here's the rules proposed. And so it was the public comment. I stood up there in 2018 and I said, you guys kind of forgot the decarboxylation formula, which is going to mean that, legal weed will, and I set it up there and I got some nasty looks. But the best part was I was able to go back on Florida Channel and take pictures of people giving me the looks from behind me. And I still have them on my phone. People are looking at me like, she needs to shut her mouth. And somebody actually went up to Holly Bell afterwards and was like, tell that girl to shut her mouth. And she called me and
Oh,
told me, and I was like, huh, well, if you don't ruffle a few feathers, then you're not doing anything right. But
that's
it was
right.
difficult to explain to people that already wanted to implement a good, safe program. Like our FDAX team at the time, they were trying to implement good language and trying to explain how they may have created a loophole, which they ended up kind of like addressing, but federally it was opened back up again, obviously, in 2018. So it all
Yep.
happened simultaneously. But I don't know. I think there's too much money in hemp for people to take it away from them.
I agree.
They're well funded.
But in California, they're trying to.
Apparently, Hector could be supplying us with news towards the end of our show.
Well, I did find out
Okay.
California lawmakers are shutting the door on Delta 8 and Delta 10 in TH entirely, while other intoxicating hemp products will no longer be sold in smoke shops, gas stations, and convenience stores. In
Okay.
the name of public health and safety.
I would tend to agree that public health and safety, the majority of the products available for retail sale that are attractive to children, that are causing people some physical harm to their person or their well-being, are not necessarily CBD, CBN, CBG, or even a little dash of THC.
Right.
It's all of the other letters, most of the other letters,
The boutique
the
slash
HPV, the HCG, the Delta 10. I know HPV is not one of them. I'm making fun of it, but at the same time,
HTC. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yep.
everyone's got a new acronym. When the scope of what you test for in a laboratory on the potency panel has to be extended because of all these new boutique cannabinoids, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like we didn't extend the panel to include THCO, O, or Delta 10. But that's a good thing. That's a good step in the right direction. I think that's what everyone is really truly afraid of, is the products that have been manufactured. Did they say they were eliminating THC products?
I did not see that. Pending Gavin Newsom's signature. Assembly Bill 8 will outlaw synthetic cannabis products and inhalable cannabis products containing cannabinoids derived from hemp.
So no more vapes, which um, Hector told Steve in the chat that low THC hemp products work to get a person relief for a low cost. Hard to argue about taking away the fixing access problem. Um, Low THC hemp products 100% do help a lot of people that are kind of on the fence about alternative medicine. So even people that are well versed, like yourself and I, in THC usage, both flower for yourself, vaping for me, edibles for us, whatever. We know what's going to happen. We know what to expect. We're never usually surprised. But in the event we are surprised,
Gummies surprise me.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm a lightweight when it comes to gummies. I give myself all the time because I'm like, I don't know when it's going to hit. But I was once in the drive through at a Taco Bell, and that was not the right time for it to hit. And it did. And it was only 2.5 milligrams. So you live and you learn, never again. But I know that if I was to be over medicated with THC to the point where you experience paranoia, anxiety, you're not comfortable,
Nausea.
you don't feel safe in your space, that CBD is a huge help by lowering that high, pretty much bringing you back down to a grounded level, getting,
Right.
I don't think it eliminates 100% of the high, but it gets your mind right to where you have your faculties back, which is incredibly valuable. People that take in too much THC when they smoke flower back in the day, they're like, oh, it made me anxious. And well, because you did too much. You took in, you had no monitoring or metering of that. I think low THC products should be available to everybody like they say they're supposed to in the law at every dispensary, but also at non-dispensaries for people that are entry level.
Ratio stuff too.
But 100% ratio. That those are invaluable to the well-being and the entry level people, but never really available in a very secure, regulated setting. If you have to go to a head shop to get that because you're not ready for full-blown cannabis, that's a problem. That is a problem. And another, I mean, I'm going to end with kind of like a nice compliment to an MSO in Florida that I went to the other day. So I know we've got some of our partners here, and maybe they'll become a partner after I say this. But Green Dragon, who I feel like doesn't get talked about a lot, maybe there is one here in Titusville, and very nice staff. They do this special, which I just brushed past and ignored it over and over again because I didn't understand why they thought it was a special. And it was a buy one get one for like a penny or something. And it was buy a regular THC product and you get a low THC flower for a penny. And I was like, no, like, why would I do that? It doesn't seem reasonable. I thought it was like a way of taking advantage. But when I got into the store and I was purchasing something else, they told me that their low THC product is a 13 or 14 or 15%. So it's a really good deal. Like, I was blown away by that. Now, I was
Yeah.
shopping for something else. I was shopping for a half an ounce for $35, which was
Yeah.
a phenomenal deal. But that was something where I was pleasantly surprised that they're offering that to the community. It's a great deal for patients. It's wonderful to have those types of opportunities there to get a good amount of medicine. It isn't really low dose. And then I remembered it isn't really low dose.
Right.
It's great for all of us that want full dose, but the company's doing phenomenal. Great company. Highly suggest going and utilizing that discount. But
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
never
check them out.
see at the dispensary a bunch of options for entry level patients. I do hear
Yeah.
dispensary workers offering dabs to someone who's probably 85 years old.
No.
I hear that more often than not. I hear
No.
that more often than, hey, maybe do something low potency. It's like, oh, have you ever dabbed?
No, no. Dabs bring my 6'3" husband to the ground.
I
If
heard
you
that
haven't heard
story
that
when you guys
story,
were kayaking. Yeah. Yeah, he told me that story. That's scary because
yeah,
he's a big guy,
it's super
and
scary.
I bet it wouldn't have
Just goes to show
affected
it doesn't
you.
matter. No.
You're like, I'm sorry, but I am well versed in all things cannabis and dabs. Like, I can handle it. I love it. Well, I am so glad you joined me today. You did a great job
For me,
talking about.
I gotta be easy on the gummies.
Oh, I mean,
Thank you,
I'm
Cynthia.
not gonna make you
Thank you for
take
having me.
I'm not going to make you take gummies against your will. I
Thank
would
you.
never medicate food without you knowing and then give it to you as if it wasn't medicated, because that's one of my biggest fears is like accidentally eating the Rice Krispie treats in my freezer
Oh yeah.
when I forgot that they were medicated. So if you ever come to my house, just don't go in the freezer. But
I had that same role.
yeah, there's there's shows about people cooking with cannabis, and like it looks amazing that they have this tincture cabinet closet of like options. But I'm like, by the time we get through the appetizer, I'm like sleeping underneath using the napkin as a pillow, you know? And like, yeah, it's just one of those things where you know what your limit is. And
Yes.
it's like spotting another cannabis user in a crowd. Like the second you smell weed, everybody looks like Meerkat Manor. And like those users, they like perk up and they start looking around. And then you're like, you're cool, you're cool. And everyone else is just regular as normal. So like I like that about you. I can,
Well,
see a
thank you.
lot of favorable traits. We should get high together sometime.
We we will.
Oh, we will. We have. We
One day
will
we will. Oh, we
soon.
will.
All
Thank you
right.
for
So
having me. This was a blast.
I'm
You
glad
made
you
it
came
easy.
on. And thank you, Hector, for calling us out for not doing our research, even though we did a lot of research. Jody should be jet setting home and probably super sad that her vacation is ending. I wonder what she brought us back from the Denmark thrift store shopping that she was going to do. We will do elevated intel next week with Jody James, and
Thanks.
have a wonderful, wonderful week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.